Hey yo guys, how is it going? Tally here, and I've not done anything all week, right? I've just had so much coffee because I'm so tired. My shifts have been so whack, and it's just drained all my energy. So I've not actually done anything at all Yu-Gi-Oh related this week. So I'm kind of bummed out. I've not played any dueling book. I've not made any content, and it was really bothering me. Okay, so what we're gonna do today is this is my friend Aiden's Nekroz deck profile, and I've kind of changed it up just a little to kind of make it a bit more how I like it, and then we're going to go over the deck, and I'm going to explain some of the strengths of the deck, some of the weaknesses of the deck. So let's go to the strengths and weaknesses. First of all, I'm going to try a new thing, insert graphic now. Okay, so talking about the strengths of the deck searches itself out like nuts. It is so good at searching. There's a million search cards. Your search cards have your search cards. When you summon using certain cards, you search out cards. It can be crazy consistent. That is for a ritual deck, because ritual decks have that inherent brickiness that comes with being a ritual deck and needing both tribute fodder, spells, and monsters to summon. But for a tribute deck, this is incredibly consistent, and because it searches everything in the deck, and there's search cards for the search cards, it works really well. Okay, I would say that this deck is a great anti-meta deck. It's a great kind of rogue contender. It's one of the better rogue decks of this format. I feel like the deck's just missing some sauce to be a fantastic, amazing deck, but for a rogue deck, I would say this is quite up there. Talking about the weaknesses though, this deck loses really hard to Droll and Lockbird. This deck, if you don't draw Called by the Grave, can sometimes die to a hand trap or two, a couple of interruptions. So overall the deck is fragile, but has a really high ceiling. I like as well how it combos off well. It's got a good first turn play in the sense that it can rather easily set up a unicorn with Vanity's Ruler, but I also like how it can respond to your opponent, and like how it can kind of play around what your opponent does, and instead of just having that one game plan where you try and battle through everything your opponent does, you actually have to play around what they do. So it's really good in that regards. So now that we've seen some of the strengths, some of the weaknesses, let's go on and just take a look at the deck. So, for our main deck ritual monsters, we have 3 Brionic. Okay, Brionic, what Brionic does is it lets you shuffle, right, targets 2, shuffles back a monster, shuffles back 2 monsters into your opponent's deck, or is it hand? Yeah, into the deck, and you can also discard this card to add 1 Nekroz card, right, Nekroz monster, sorry. I'm kind of unfamiliar with the deck. I've been testing it the last couple of days, but I'm still a little bit rusty. So Brionic's really cool in the sense that it's level 6, which comes in really handy for the combo that you're going to want to do to be able to kind of lock your opponent out of summoning, just to begin with. Then as well, as a going second option, being able to shuffle 2 monsters back into the deck, which when you're going up against some decks like Colossus from Thunder Dragons, pure and or kind of with a Guard Dragon build, that it's so hard to get rid of that, but by just shuffling it back into the deck, like Brionic just handles it pretty easily. So Brionic's a sick card. You want to run free of that. It's probably the only Nekroz that you want to run free of. Then next, we have Valkyrius. Now what Valkyrius does is, again, on field, it contributes 2 monsters from the hand or field to draw 2 cards. So it's kind of like Destiny Draw, so like you get rid of 2 cards and you draw 2 cards. It just allows you to dig really deep into your deck. And also, this is kind of like Battle Fader. So when this card, when you've got this card in your hand, if your opponent declares an attack, you can banish 1 Nekroz card from your graveyard and discard this card, and then it ends that attack. As far as I'm aware, does it end the battle phase? It ends the battle phase, so it negates the attack and ends battle phase, which is really good considering, you know, sometimes you want to play a kind of protect the castle style with this deck. So again, Valkyrius helps you do that. It helps you protect your monsters. So it's a really good tool of, again, searchable quite easily through all the cards that say add Nekroz cards, like your boy Brio here. Then we have 2 Nekroz of Colossalus. Okay, Nekroz of Colossalus is really cool, again, because it lets you discard it to search a Nekroz spell or trap. One day we'll get that Nekroz spell or trap. Just in case, for any of you who do not know, Nekroz do not have a spell. They've got lots of spells, what am I talking about? They don't have a trap card. They've got spell cards, they just don't have a trap card as far as I'm aware. So one day Colossalus will be able to search a trap card. And also, you can discard it to add 1 Sorry, quick effect. Yeah, this is even better. What it does is you can target one face-up monster in the field that was special summoned from the extra deck, negate its effects. Okay, so this is one of the deck's few negate interruptions. Again, this deck's really anti-extra deck, so even being able to set up a Colossus turn 1 with its big 2300 booty and a little bit of defence around it could actually be pretty decent. You know, if you hit the right card, you hit your opponent's LP, anything like that, then it could actually be quite good to slow them down a lot. Okay, it also reduces your opponent's attack points, or your opponent's monster as attack points, so it negates. So again, even if you're going second, kind of allows you to push for a little bit more damage. Then we have one Unicorn, we have one Trishula, and we have one Gungnir. So let's go through them all. Unicorn, right, this doesn't have an in-hand effect, so what this does is it allows you to, not allows you to, pretty much once it's summoned, it's a floodgate for your opponent's extra deck monsters. All of their effects are negated, okay? And that's kind of, that's a really good floodgate for your opponent's turn. It allows you to just kind of shut down your opponent. If you know, it's kind of like summoning Plasma. If they've got a big board of extra deck monsters and you just hit like Unicorn onto the field, then they've kind of got nothing left to do. Trishula is really cool in that, again, going back to having in-hand effects, its in-hand effect allows you to discard it to protect a monster from being targeted, and its on-field effect allows you to banish one from your opponent's hand, field, and graveyard. It has to be that way though. You can't just play it first and then rip a card from your opponent's hand. They have to have a card in their field, they have to have a card in their hand, and they have to have a card in their graveyard in order for Trishula to work. But what's really good is with the advent of Infinite Impermanence and with Effect Veiler being played a lot these days, this is a really good card to protect your monsters, especially, you know, against Sky Striker where they're going to try and Widow Anchor you, and you can just go ahead and trish it, okay, in response. Then Gungnir, again, really cool card. Gungnir does a couple of things. Let's have a look at Gungnir. It's also really, it just looks sick. So Gungnir lets us, during your opponent's turn, you can discard this card, then target one Nekroz monster. It can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. And also, during your opponent's turn, you can discard one Nekroz card, target one card in the field, and destroy it. So it's kind of like a Dryden or Dystopia type effect, just popping during your opponent's turn. It's kind of rare that you summon Gungnir. I have seen it done, and I have kind of done it myself online a wee bit, but it's kind of rare. But again, that protection, that inbuilt hand trap effect is really good. Okay, because now, between this and this, it's really difficult to get rid of some of your more powerful monsters and some of the cards you want to protect, like your Unicorn. So if you can ever get this on field with these two in hand, you're doing pretty well for the next turn, and you've really slowed your opponent down, and you really control the pace of the match from there. Which is what you want to do. I wouldn't say this deck is a floodgate deck, but it definitely wants to control the pace. It definitely wants to wait until your opponent can't push through anymore, and then it just wants to kind of finish them from there. The deck doesn't do too well against really main deck heavy decks. I noticed when I was playing Aiden, when it came to, what am I thinking of? Yeah, when it came to playing him with heroes, put Plasma down, and it kind of stunned him for a little while. The deck does have outs, which we'll take a look at later on in the extra deck, but main deck wise, the deck doesn't have a whole lot of outs in it. So yeah, you want to consider that. You want to consider that against extra decks, it's really good with your Colossus negate, with Unicorn shutting off everything, with Gungnir and Trishula protecting your monsters, but against main decks, you're going to want to change up the strategy a little bit. Okay, so that's it for our Nekroz ritual cards. Last couple of Nekroz cards in the deck is to Sure It. Okay, I reckon Sure It could come back to free. It's not super broken, but the thing about Nekroz cards is that when you tribute monsters to summon them, it has to be the exact level. So, for example, if you're tributing for Gungnir, it has to be a level 7, or you have to be exactly level 7, because you could tribute like a level 3 and a level 4, but it has to add up to exactly 7. What Sure It does is it allows you to kind of circumvent that. This one card can be used as the full tribute for any of these Nekroz ritual monsters, which again adds a whole lot of consistency to the deck. And if it's tributed, then you can actually add a Water Warrior monster to your hand. Yeah, you can add one Warrior Nekroz ritual monster to your hand, which again just gets your engine going. Super good consistency card. I reckon it could come back to free and Nekroz wouldn't be meta. They would still stay a really good rogue contender, but they wouldn't like dominate the meta, I don't think. but I hope it comes back to free. I reckon it is. Then we're running a bunch of incantations. In fact, we'll move you down here, pal. Okay, so pretty much what you want to be doing here is using your incantations to get 2 bodies on board, search through your deck. Again, that super consistent aspect of the deck, and turn those kind of clunky ritual monsters in hand to consistency fodder, right? I don't even know a better word, but pretty much all of these do things. So, we'll go through them. The Chalice Slime lets you reveal this card, and then you discard 1 card, and then you summon an incantation from deck. Any of these incantations, when summoned from deck, will do things. As far as I'm aware, this will grab something from the graveyard, and these 2 will grab something from your deck. Pressure Talismandra, it adds a monster, yep, and Candle adds a spell. But this is quite good for recyclability. You might want to bump this up to free because it's really good, because you have to show a ritual monster. Yeah, you show a ritual monster to get it, or to summon it, and then it again gets your engine going, because you want to be able to special summon these from deck. So maybe like cut these maybe to 1. Nah, definitely if you can, bump this to free. Okay, so these again just help you search out your deck. This has a drawback that if you do not ritual summon the turn that you activate its effect, you have to pay 2,500 life points. My question is, or my thought is, if you're not ritual summoning the turn you've used this card, you have absolutely wasted it, right? This 1 card can get you so much advantage, and it's so cool to see how you can play with certain hands. Like you could use this, discard a ritual spell, then search, sort of summon something, search something, and then you could actually, if you've got Preparation of Rites in hand, get a ritual monster from your deck to your hand and add that same ritual spell back, so you haven't minused whatsoever. And again, it's really good in that sense. It just helps generate lots of advantage for the deck. The deck has a lot of kind of 1-for-1s, but then once those 1-for-1s start adding up, you start getting a lot of +1s, and again that advantage just starts piling up over time, or throughout your combo. Then what makes the totally blanked. What makes the incantations not dead on the board? Vanity's Ruler. Okay, now this deck does not run Manju or Senju because we want this to be our normal summon. Okay, those are both perfectly good normal summons in the deck, and they're great consistency cards, but I want this to be my normal summon, which is why instead of the Manju and the Senju, I play more incantations, and Aiden plays more incantations because this is his deck, but I've messed about with it slightly. Okay, but you're thinking, how did I get this, right? It's a one-off, like, and you can't run free because it's bricky as all hell, and you would be right. So what we do is we run 2 Cyber Angel Benton, which when tributed allows you to search a fairy monster. Is it any type of fairy monster? It's 1 light fairy, but that doesn't matter because Vanity's Ruler is a light fairy. So you want these 2, because you want to be able to search it. If you open it, it's not too bad, but you'd rather search it. So you want to be able to search it, tribute it for something like Unicore, which is why it's important that this is a level 6 as well. Tribute it for your Unicore, not Unicore, Bryonic, that's the card I'm thinking of, and then get this out. And then if you had any incantations in your hand to start your turn, then you've got a free Unicore or a free Bryonic plus this, which it doesn't take too much to get this out, to be honest, now that I think about it. We'll probably do a combo video to show you kind of how this deck works. Again, it's very much about the hand you draw, because it is possible to brick. It is a ritual deck, but also, like, it's also possible to end like with 3 cards in hand and a couple cards on field. So again, it has its highs and lows. Consistent enough to be a really good rogue deck, but not consistent enough to be a good meta deck. Then for this deck, we're going to run a few hand traps. Again, this is to Aiden's taste, so currently he's running 2 Ash and 2 Ogre. Personally, again, you can mess about with the hand trap ratio, you can play different hand traps. This could very easily be the Gamma package if you want to go second with the deck primarily, which the deck does good, so going second. I would maybe play, I don't know, because this is a great hand trap, this format. You hand trap, you Ghost Ogre LP, like what are they going to do? Ash Blossom, of course, is really good. If you want to make more space for an extra copy of these 2, or kind of an extra copy of this and Impermanences, feel free, like absolutely feel free. But this is a good number just now. Again, I think it depends more so on the format, but this is okay. But if you want to bump these up or like maybe side the other 2, then definitely feel free. But the deck can afford to run a few more hand traps than this, I find. But this kind of 4, again, it means that opening a hand trap is kind of you know, it's not super likely, but you've got a good chance of opening a hand trap, plus some combo pieces, and being able to have those extra points of interaction on your opponent's turn, which is why these two hand traps are actually really good. Okay, because they are good points of interaction. Now, because this deck doesn't like hand traps, we're on Free Called by the Grave. Pretty much, you don't want to get ashed, you don't want to get ogred. You wouldn't really get ogred, but you don't want to get ashed, so you're on Free Called by the Grave. Then, because the deck searches everything, you want free Preparation of Rites to get yourself a level 7 or lower ritual monster, and then you can add a ritual spell from your deck, from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, moving on. So now we have our ritual spells, and we run 6 ritual spells. Now we run 2 Mirror, 2 Cycle, and 2 Kaleidoscope. So they all let you do the usual tribute from hand or field sort of thing, but they also have a little bit of spice per card. So this lets you banish a monster or monsters from your graveyard. This lets you summon from your graveyard, and this lets you tribute monsters or send monsters from your extra deck to use as material for your ritual summon. Okay, now this is really good in the sense that this allows you to kind of continue to use resources that maybe otherwise would have been spent. And again, that just allows you to get that kind of grind game going. Again, this allows you to summon from the graveyard, so that grind game, you're back on it, you're getting on there, you're able to kind of continue to play, continue to grind your opponent out. And this allows you to plus like hell, right? There's a couple cards in it, or there's a couple cards in the extra deck that you can use in conjunction with this card to build your board and break your opponent's board, which again, depending on whether you're going first or second, is pretty vital. Okay, so those are 6 ritual spells, all highly searchable, all really recurrable, and they also have graveyard effects where if you control no monsters, they'll do things. Okay, so our 6 ritual spells, really good, don't need to run any more than that. And our last main card deck, Rota, Reinforcement of the Army. You know, it's just your third copy of Shura, or it lets you grab Colossus or something like that. Again, just another consistency card. Okay, so overall, that's the main deck, 40 cards exactly. And it works pretty well, right? It's pretty consistent. And again, that search power that the deck has, that insane search power, just allows you to do lots with the deck. Now, moving on to the extra deck, a lot of this is filler, right? A lot of this is just to fulfill a level kind of requirement. But some of these actually come in real handy. So, for example, filler, 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 kind of filler 2. But the remaining cards, right, so pretty much these are all just to do with the levels. This is a 9, this is a 7, this is a 6. I wouldn't say this is filler. This actually does come in handy when you want to push for game. Good old Underclock Taker. Are totally awesome in our proxy. Again, are just kind of filler cards, right? There is a way to get more use out of those if you're using things like Zaborg the Mega Monarch. It's definitely a viable option in the deck, it's just less consistent because Vanity's Ruler is actually searchable. Okay, but the cards that you really, really want to abuse with this deck, we'll just go like this. Okay, these are really good for the extra deck, right? These are mandatory in the extra deck. These are absolutely 100% necessary. So let me explain what they do. So this card, when it's sent to the graveyard, lets you search a ritual spell or ritual monster. That's really good. Turns out this also has a nutty effect. If you ever summon this, right, you'll never summon this in Nekroz, but like if you have any deck that makes a Synchro 4, this is nuts, right? So this, if this is on the field and any card is sent from the main deck or hands to the graveyard, it's banished instead. So it's like half of a Macrocosmos, which banishes cards. It can also tribute itself to negate a spell, trap, or monster effect. So like, this is nuts. I don't have a deck that makes a level 4 Synchro, but if I do, I'm putting this in. And then, of course, you know, when it goes to the graveyard, it searches stuff. So you can use that off a Kaleidoscope to summon your Unicorn. I've lost Unicorn. Yeah, you can use it to summon your Unicorn, and then go on and get some like pluses. This will then search you just like anything at all. Could be a protection card like Trish, or it could be like your Gungnir, it could be anything. Or again, it could just be like you search out your Benteng because now you want to summon Vanity's Ruler. Okay, so that card's nuts. If you're going second, you can use this again to summon your Unicorn, and when this is sent to the graveyard, it pops a card on field, which again is really, really good. Not even a monster or a trap or a spell, it just a card on the field, which again, when you want to go second and start disrupting your opponent and breaking their board apart so that you can take control of the tempo of the deck, that's what you want to do. Okay, so this card comes in handy as well, especially when you want to go second. And then this as well, right, you can summon your Valkyrius off this. This, when it's in the graveyard, will let you shuffle cards back in. And again, just reuse your resources, kind of get back in there, reuse your resources, recycle your resources, and actually continue that grind game. It's something that this deck does really well, controlling the tempo and grinding and being able to effectively use its resources. So these 7 cards you definitely want. Now these two are pretty cheap and abundant. This was a Megaton promo. This was in Dupo, so again it's really it's highly printed right now. This, I don't know if this will go up in price. If you want to play Nekroz, this is a mandatory, so pick it up as soon as you start playing the deck. But I don't know if with Lambda being out, if it's going to go up in price at all. But again, it's actually, it's one of those Synchro 8s, you kind of want it around as well. It's a really good card. So that's the deck, okay? That is the deck. 40 cards for the main deck, 15 cards for the extra deck. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Let me know, guys, if you want to see some combos for the deck. I'm probably going to record some, just because I enjoy messing about with this deck and spending some time with it. But overall, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the outro. So, if you liked the video and if you liked the deck profile, give it a like. If you loved it, give it a share, right? Tell everyone you know about Team Tally today. If you, in fact, have not joined Team Tally, do yourself a favour, hit that subscribe button down below, nearly at that 200 mark. And also, words. I don't do words very well. What I do very well is let you all know this. Guys, you have been fantastic. I've been Tally. I'll catch you all later. Bye.